mention the huge amounts of misinformation that is put out there on the web. I mean, yesterday, for instance, I was shocked. It said Mahama bans Ghanaians from coming to Chatham House. I mean, absolutely. You know, I'm going to meet Ghanaians here. I'm going to interact with them. Why would I ban them from coming to Chatham House? And say, so the High Commissioner collaborated with Chatham House and said he shouldn't allow Ghanaians. Why not? I'd love to have that place filled with Ghanaians. But those are some of the misinformations that you find, you know, on the media, and we have to live with it. Now they can even Photoshop and take your head off, take somebody's head off something, you know, and put your head there and spread it all over the place, you know. And I mean, it's awesome. But that is the power. That is the power of information and communications, and it's something that we have to live with. As our Minister of Foreign Affairs said, we have been to several countries. I was in Addis Ababa for the 50th anniversary of the African Union, and we had to be there because of the role Ghana has played in the African Union over the years. And anytime I go to the African Union, I feel proud, because the only statue of a leader standing outside the conference hall of the African Union is a statue of Osagyefo Dr. And so we discussed Africa 50 years since 1963, and then we also discussed where we want Africa to be 50 years from now in 2063. And I must say that in 50 years, we have made progress in Africa, and there's a lot of attention being focused on Africa now. And so, as heads of state, we discussed a lot of issues to do with how we can integrate the continent better, how we can allow more trade between ourselves, and so on and so forth. We went on to France, and we met with President Hollande, we met with the French business community, and as I said, France has an intention to erase the language barriers, you know, in Africa, and invest in wherever they can, Anglophone or Francophone. And so there are many French companies that are doing business in Ghana. And as she said, as a result of the civil war in Cote d'Ivoire, a lot of them moved to Ghana, and they're doing good business. And it is our intention to create Ghana as the gateway to West Africa, to make people comfortable to invest in Ghana, but also use Ghana as the platform to reach into other West African countries. And we're making very good progress at that. From there, we went to Japan, and we attended TICAD. There is an increasing interest in Africa by Japan, actually by all countries, all continents, and Asia has not been left out. As you know, China held a meeting with Africa, that's the China-Africa Forum, and they pledged $20 billion to Africa, to invest in Africa. When we attended the Tokyo International Conference for African Development, the Japanese government pledged $32 billion for investment in Africa. And it's my duty to grab as much of that to come to Ghana. So we're here in UK, and the last 2 days have been very fruitful. We met with Foreign Secretary William Hague, and also met with Prime Minister David Cameron. And we had some quite good discussions. There are key UK companies that have invested in Ghana and that are doing very good business in Ghana. One of them is Tullow, which you know is one of the leading oil companies working in Ghana. And so we discussed issues to do with companies like Tullow, with Lonrho that is looking to establish an oil services port, and so many other companies that are looking to put money into Ghana. But everywhere we have gone, everybody has been full of praise for the progress Ghana has made. It looks like everyone appreciates our country except we ourselves. If you go everywhere, the whole international community other African countries are upbeat about what we're doing in Ghana. But if you go to Ghana, you would think that we live in a hellhole. But the statistics don't support that. Ghana is making progress. It doesn't mean we don't have challenges. No, even here there are challenges. And Ghana is still a developing country. It's only 55 years old. Ghana still has challenges, there's no doubt about that. I don't say that everybody goes to bed in Ghana with a full stomach. I don't say that children don't die. I don't say that women are not dying giving birth. But we're making progress in reducing all this. Tomorrow, Sunday, I was supposed to be in Rome to receive an award on behalf of Ghana for being one of the countries that has met the Millennium Development Goal target of reducing hunger, before the target date of 2015. We have not only met the target, we have exceeded the target. In 1992, undernourishment in Ghana was 32%. 32% of people were malnourished in 1992. We have reduced that figure to 5% today. 5% of people today are undernourished in Ghana. And that exceeds the Millennium Development Target that was set. So tomorrow, Ghana is one of the countries going to be awarded in Rome. But you see, that's the thing about progress and success. And that's what I was talking about in Chatham House yesterday. Progress happens in little measures every day, and so we fail to notice that we're making progress. Success is the end. When you have reached the end, then you can look back and say, oh, this has been successful. So today we can stand in 2012 and say Ghana has been successful in reducing hunger. But all along the way from 1992, reducing the number of malnourished people, we wouldn't see the day-to-day progress that we have been making. As I stand today, we have overproduced maize by 200,000 metric tons. And that is because we have introduced projects to improve productivity of farmers. We give them improved seeds. Before, the farmers, every year when they plant, they'll keep some and replant. That's what our fathers and mothers were doing. But today you must use special seeds that produce more. And so at the beginning of the farming season, we give the farmers the seeds, we give them the fertilizers, we give them the inputs, and they plant, grow their crops, and then they pay for the inputs after they have harvested. That alone in corn production has increased maize production, and today we have a surplus of 200,000 metric tons. If we don't take it out of the system, it will affect the price, and if the price of maize goes down, the farmers will not get the full benefit of what they've done. And so the World Food Program is buying maize from Ghana to export to Niger for their humanitarian program there. It's a long time since I heard that the fortunes of a government has been measured by the size of Kinky. In the past, how well you were doing as a president was measured by how big the Kinky was. When was the last time you heard a complaint about the size of Kinky? It's no longer the measure for political success because we're making progress in agriculture. Not only that, in 2000, more than 600 women, 670 I think was the figure, out of every 100,000 women died in childbirth. Today that figure has been brought down to 300, more than half. And we're still not satisfied and want to push it. The Millennium Development Target is 187. We have 3 years more to meet that target. It's tough, but I've told our people we can do it. Let's try. And so we're going to push and see if we can meet the 187. But if we don't meet it, let's get as close to 187. But the ideal figure is that no woman should die in childbirth, bringing life to humanity. Why must women die in the natural process of procreating? And so all the Human Development Index figures are looking good. Fewer children are dying. before the age of 5 because vaccination is widespread. HIV prevalence rate was 4.7%. We've managed to bring it down to 1.3%. And so take every single human development index, and it is getting better. Availability of water was 40%. Today, 65% of Ghanaians have access to water. The main problem now is how to solve urban water. We have been so successful in rural water that we weren't paying attention to urban water, and people are migrating from the rural areas and putting pressure on the utilities on the towns. And so now we have to focus on improving urban water. And so the human development indexes are good. Ghana has the highest electricity connectivity south of the Sahara, except South Africa, of 72%. 72% of Ghanaians are connected to the national electricity grid. And so progress is happening, but because it's happening every day, we don't see it. But at the end of the journey, we can look back and measure and say, look, we've succeeded in doing some things well. But it is only when we realize our successes that we can build on it. What did God say? He said, count your blessings one by one and see what God has done for you. And it's only when you see what God has done for you by counting your blessings that He will shower you with more blessings. And so, if you sit and God blesses you and you still complain and you don't appreciate it and you say you are poor and you have not made progress and God, I'm suffering, you are not helping me, and you don't appreciate what He's doing for you, He's not going to give you anything more because you don't appreciate it. And that is the problem we face. All of us must appreciate the success we've made and say that if we come together, we can make it. There's no country in this world that does not have challenges. Every country has challenges. Ghana has challenges. But if all of us come together and say we can make our country what we want it to be, it will become that country. What will happen if we are sitting in a boat and half of us with our paddles are rowing forward and the other half with our paddles are rowing backwards? Where will the boat go? It will stay in the same place. All of us must row the boat in the same direction in order for it to go where we want it to go. As we are sitting here today and talking, a few people are outside there. This happens with banana republics. Ghana is not a banana republic. It is when you can't express yourself in your country, you don't have freedom of speech, that your leader comes out and then you go and take placards and say you are picketing him. We have freedom of speech in Ghana. You can demonstrate in Ghana. You can speak on the radio. Indeed, if you're a president and you survive from 6 o'clock to 10, then you are fine. Because all the radio stations from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. have their political talk shows, and they will abuse you and abuse you. If you survive after 10, you can breathe and concentrate on your work and I told them in Chatham House yesterday, I said Ghana has the freest media in the whole world. Nobody can tell me anything different. We have the freest expression in the world. And so it's only when you live in some banana republic that you come out and stand in the cold with placards and attempt to picket your leader. But let me say, we have challenges. We have an energy crisis. The energy crisis was caused as a result of the rupture of the West African gas pipeline. We have a gas pipeline stretching from Nigeria all the way to Ghana. And all of us invested in it to bring Nigerian gas to run our thermal plants. Sometime last year in August, a ship's anchor, I don't know where they brought that Ophir Nipa from, Some ship somewhere in Togo. He didn't find anywhere to go and drop his anchor. And then when they were moving, instead of lifting the anchor, they moved the ship, and the ship hooked the West African gas pipeline and broke it. And so all of a sudden, zero gas from Nigeria. We tuned all our thermal plants to run on gas. So 300 megawatts pump immediately out of the system. And so we've been struggling to solve it. We don't have one single liter of gas from Nigeria. And so we had to tune all the machines again to run on light crude. Now, if you take the price of light crude at $100, then the price of gas is $34. And so if you move from $34 to produce a unit of electricity, and then you move to using light crude, it's like moving from 34 to 100. And so sadly, the price of fuel to run those thermal plants has become more expensive. And unfortunately, we haven't adjusted the tariffs. We have to go through a process to be able to do it. And there's an organization called the PURC that does that. So they're doing the stakeholder consultation. And I've been monitoring what's been going on. And most Ghanaians say, look, if we can have stable power, we're prepared to pay. Everywhere in the world, power is not cheap, and you have to pay. Here, if you consume, you pay. In Ghana, there are people... There are people who use electricity free of charge. They call it illegal connection. And so, when some people are stealing the power, and the power is costing a certain amount to produce, then it means that those who are paying pay more. If you take a burden and you share it over more people, then the burden is lighter. But if you share it over fewer people, then the burden is heavier. And so you try to correct it as you are, doing this one. Somebody too is doing another one, and but we'll get it. We'll get the hold of it. One, we need to punish people for doing that. And when we start punishing people for doing that, people shouldn't say a president is wicked or a government is wicked. You can't be that unpatriotic. There are people who make connections in their houses and they connect the air condition to the power grid, and then the lights they put on the meter. So when you read the meter, consumption is low. But you look at the air conditioning and the things in the house, but this house should be consuming more than that. And some clever electrician would use his ingenuity to bypass the air conditioners and all that. But it's also because of the economic growth. Our country is growing very fast. We're growing at an average of 8% per annum. And electricity demand is also growing, we estimate, at an average of 6 to 7% per annum. So it means that every year we should put about 200 megawatts into the system if we are to stay ahead of the demand. In the past, in Ghana, if you went to a compound house, you find that only one person had a television. And so in the night, so they'll come and put the TV in the compound, and then everybody will gather and watch. And you have to treat Kweku Papa well. Otherwise, the day he's annoyed with the house, you bring the TV out. Today, go to a compound house in Ghana and see everybody has a television set. Some have in the bedroom, in the living room, even in the kitchen. The women, when they are cooking, they are watching TV. Before, air conditioning. Only airport, residential, and places you see air conditioners. Now go to Newtown. Go to Newtown. People are using air conditioners there. Go to Jongole. People are using air conditioners there. Before, fridges. When you finish eating, I'm a call AC Mami Honaji ice water kakra. And today who goes to who to collect ice water? Everybody has his ice water. So as the country progresses, people's demand for energy increases. And so we have to put in more energy to meet that demand. And so when I sit and I think and I plan, I'm not thinking of just solving the energy crisis for today. I'm thinking of doing it for the medium and long term. And that is why I have pledged that by 2016 we would increase the energy production from the current 2,400 megawatts to at least 5,000 megawatts. Double it in the next 3 to 4 years, so that we have enough power to satisfy our own demand, but at the same time export any surplus to our neighboring countries. Electricity is an export product, and our transmission system is interconnected with all our neighbors, with Burkina Faso, with Cote d'Ivoire, with Togo, with Benin. As I speak today, we're supposed to be giving Benin 90 megawatts of power every day. We're currently giving them 35 because we have a shortage ourselves. But if we're producing 5,000 megawatts and Benin wants 200 megawatts, we're prepared to sell it to them. After all, they're going to pay for it. And so that is the vision that we have, and we'll be able to achieve it. The other things I could talk about, but we're working on so many things. We're working on restoring the railways. We're working on building a new airport. Kotoka is no longer adequate. If you come to Kotoka between 7 o'clock and 11 in the night, and you see the congestion when the KLMs and the British Airways and all of them arrive, it is worrisome. And so we've set up a task force. We're starting a feasibility. We're advertising an expression of interest to build a new airport, because we want to create Ghana as the aviation hub of West Africa. Because Ghana's brand is peace and security. And a lot of people prefer, if they have to transit in West Africa, to transit through Accra. And so if we have a modern airport that is beautiful, a lot of our West African neighbors who are going home, who don't have direct flights to their countries, would rather come through Accra than go through some other airports. I'm not going to name anybody's name. As I speak, we've given an expression of interest for expansion of the Tema port. And we have received more than 55 international companies responding. And we have shortlisted that we're going to choose the partner to work with. And we're going to do these on a PPP basis. We're saying that for organizations that can borrow on their own balance sheet, let's let them do that instead of piling all that on the public debt. And so for the VRAs of this world, the Gapohes of this world, the Ghana airport companies of this world, the Ghana water companies of this world, we say borrow on your own balance sheets and expand your systems and pay your debts. And then we can use the revenues. To improve access to healthcare, to improve access to education, because those are the social sectors that you don't expect that revenue is going to come out of there for you to be able to pay for the projects. Even for roads, I mean, if we expand the roads under PPP and toll them properly, government doesn't have to spend money building the roads. We can let the private sector build the roads, and then people pay the tolls, and the tolls pay for the roads. And so that's the new thinking that we're bringing, to development in Ghana. And so things are on track. After the Supreme Court case, I won't talk about it. I swore an oath under the Constitution to respect the Constitution of Ghana. And I respect the Supreme Court. I'm sure they'll come to the right verdict. And so it doesn't cause me any sleepless nights at all. All of us are one people. God knows why He put us together in the country called Ghana. And so we must see ourselves first and foremost as Ghanaians. And that if we work together, we can make our country one that we can be proud of. If we make our country one that we can be proud of, then it means that we can find work in our own countries and we don't need to migrate to somebody else's country to go and look for work. And so let us all come together. Nobody has a divine right to rule Ghana. When I was campaigning, I said, it is God who will choose the leader. I pointed in the sky. Nobody knows where I was pointing. I was pointing because I know that God is the one who will choose the leader for us. And the people spoke. Somebody has a disagreement. We must even thank God we are happy and lucky. It even consolidates our democratic credentials. In some other countries, they'll probably have gone to take guns and start shooting each other. In Ghana, we've gone to the court. So let us wait for what the court says. And when the court pronounces, we all must respect the verdict of the court. And so I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all those who have made Highgate possible. Indeed, we are working on a program to renew the chanceries and the residences of our missions in all the other countries. The Foreign Minister and the Finance Minister have been talking about it. We're getting a facility to build. In some of the countries we have land, and yet we are renting. If you look at the amount of money we pay as rent for properties to house our missions, I mean, if we build our own, we can save that money and use that money to maintain those properties. And so, just as Nkrumah did in his time in acquiring these buildings, we should also add to it. We shouldn't come and sell them. We should keep them in good order. With respect to the proposal for the Community Center Ghana Union, I would suggest that if Ghana Union could organize some fundraising and raise some money, then you could appeal to government to add something to it, and then you do the community center. Otherwise, if government came and built a community center here, then Germany will say, okay, we also want a community center. Netherlands will say, we also want a community center. America will say, we also want a community center. But if you help yourselves, if you do some fundraising, and you come and say, look, we have this money, can government assist us, to top up and do this, then we can do that. Or else, if government pays for it 100%, then it means it will be a government property, and it will be owned by government. And so you must contribute something, and then government can top up and assist you to do it. So I thank you very much. God bless all of you. God bless Africa.
Thank you very much, His Excellency the President. Please put your hands together one more time for the President. Thank you.